Just having a twirl.
Were you having a twirl?
Yeah, I was having a twirl.
It's literally having a twirl.
Orange twirl. You like orange twirl?
Orange?
Well, that's not an orange one, but I like it.
I always don't know if you saw this, but somebody on the front row was like, oh, I always knew he was a twirl guy. There's nothing you can say that people won't react to that way.
I once saw Neil Finn from Crowded House eating a biscuit boost.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about Crowded House. Thank you so much for all the wonderful questions that you sent. I apologise in advance, we will not get round to them all. Let's try and get through as many as we can. Before we get any further, do you really call each other blob? That's something that comes up. Yes, next question. Yeah, right. I'm glad that this came up because I was going to ask about David Bowie. David Bowie ruined 2 of your album launches. There's a question here. What was it like meeting David Bowie during the Enemy cover shoot, and did he know much about your music at the time?
Oh, let's not talk about that.
Come on, stand up. Who was it? Yeah.
Nah, next one.
But I do want to know about that. Like, David Bowie did ruin 2 of your album launches, didn't he? But not his fault.
Yeah.
That was a bit
Kind of his fault. He wasn't actively working towards it. True. Once he had an album out, and the other time he died, which I think is fair.
He didn't accidentally release an album.
I love the idea of that though, because a lot's been made of that, hasn't it? About the meticulous way that David went about, making the Black Star album and releasing it posthumously or just about posthumously. I love the idea that you might have just been sitting there thinking, I'm going to fuck Suede. One more time.
There's one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to fuck them up.
I wish you could see the look on their faces.
The last thing on his bucket list.
Fuck up Suede. He knows, he's having a laugh at me. Are there any collaborations that you wish you had done or that you sort of have an eye on doing?
No, I don't like collaborations.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not really a thing.
It's not very Suede. I like sort of just doing the Suede thing over and over and over again. Yeah? I always think collaborations are this sort of, you can always sort of sense the hand of the management team in collaborations, and I hate that. So my favourite phrase, which Rodge knows very well, is from 1984, if you want a vision of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. And that's pretty much how I think of Suede, stamping on the human face forever. And just kind of like perfecting our art down to this sort of like cold, sort of like point of perfection.
God.
Yeah.
And the blue cold steel of antidepressants, almost like a
very
face in the eerie of humanity.
Very bleak soul I have.
I hope that answers your question. Thank you for coming.
Backing away.
Which song do you enjoy playing live the most? Each.
I really like playing Shadow Self. It's in the audience. Most of our songs are kind of directed at the audience, you know what I mean? That's one of the few ones that when we're playing it on stage, I don't really know anyone else is out there. I mean, it's quite hard to play, that's one of the reasons, you know, I have to come to it. But I don't know, there's something about the world of it that when it goes off, it's, you know, the 5 of us just, I don't know, we're just grooving.
Yeah. What about you?
I like any song where I can lie on the floor for a while and recover. So at the moment, I quite like playing June Rain because it's sort of like there's lots of I can lie on the floor and do a bit of poetry, and I don't have to sing and move and sweat. So that's nice. Yeah, this is the interesting thing. So people are often sort of puzzled by why we play certain songs live and why we don't play other songs and stuff like that. And lots of it is very, very practical considerations. So sometimes there'll be songs that stay in the set just because it gives me a break. things like that. So I can literally lie on the floor. Two of us and June Rain, I can literally have to lie down because there's been a sort of barrage of shouty songs before that I need to recover from. I'm getting old now, I'm 60 next year. So,
No! Don't do it! Don't let it happen!
I'm sorry to say that time is coming for us all. It's fine.
the march of time.
Mick Jagger, he's 82 years old.
Yeah, we have to program in a cigarette break for Simon as well. That's why we do in acoustics.
It's true, he can't do 90 minutes without that.
I love how unreconstructed that is. Just a little. What I did notice, it's a side thing, but on the Albert Hall footage, is it like sort of big joss sticks strapped to some of the rigging at the back?
Yeah, Nag Champa.
Right. I wondered what it was because I'm big on the joss sticks myself.
Yeah.
All the kinds, you know. But I saw that. Oh, that's my kind of.
Kind of joystick, yeah.
You know, when the solo album comes out, there's going to be a lot of joss stick on the live shows.
Yeah.
It's not about me. What would you be doing now if it hadn't gone so brilliantly with the great comeback? That's a really genuinely good question, I think. Like, I know that it's a sliding doors thing,
Yeah, it's interesting.
but as a thought experiment, what do you think you might all be doing?
Oh, and I think I'd be a writer because that's what I do when I start time, so that's quite easy for me.
Yeah.
Harder for everyone else. Let's pass this one along.
I'd definitely be doing something in music. No idea what, but that's the only thing I can do. Really. It's like, it's like I've got no other skills.
No transferable skills.
Exactly.
That's easy, right?
Well, the same really, you know, making records, writing songs in some, you know, under some name. I don't really know what. If Suede weren't together, I'd still be making records. You know, I don't know.
I think that the rest of whatever's left of my life is about finding what is the smallest amount of money I can live on, so that I can do either as little as possible or do whatever I want to do, which is like playing blues rock in pubs in the Lake District. You didn't ask me though, so again I'm wasting time. Where's Matt's signature gone on our books is one of the questions. Questions, a serious question.
I'm sorry, I was a little bit late. So, but I mean, there's still time. Richard hasn't signed any of them, so I feel like I'm up on him at least.
Don't try and get out of it. Right, you'll stay behind and do it after. Exactly. I want your money's worth. 100 lines. Yeah. I mean, he could probably get 50 signed while we're talking in the second half, couldn't he?
Yeah, come on. Yes, bring them up. We can do them while he's chatting.
That was a joke, please don't do that.
Did you hear that terrible story about the school child in China who he had to write 1 million lines because he was so naughty. He was sentenced to death.
That's it.
I've got to work on that. I've got to work on that one. I don't really understand this one. Why did your love only come in a Volvo? Oh, right, okay. Was it the Swedish engineering and pioneering safety cage?
I'm always trying to, you know, get product placement in the songs because I'm looking for a free Volvo, really, and disappointed that I haven't offered one, you know. So
Not yet.
not yet. You know.
It's a shame, isn't it?
No, it is.
You've got to really hammer that one home.
Well, I've got to trade in the Ford Cougar, so.
But after tonight, he's going to get a lifetime supply of orange twirls. So you win some, you lose some.
God, it's true though. Save some for me, please. Hang on, we've got so many to go through here. Will you keep touring? Brackets, it's costing me a fortune.
I can't tell whether that's saying that we should stop.
That's like a cry for help.
Exactly. That's like a please stop, isn't it? Please stop.
In a way, that is, we're laughing about it, but that is, it's so lovely, and I really think that we ought to pause to consider that for a minute. There are lots of bands who have, you know, people like them and stuff, people really like them, but I think it's quite a small pantheon of bands whose fans are the level of fervour that Suede fans have, and you know, and so that's why we've got a police cordon on the way out. It's true, isn't it? I mean, you know, these guys are hugely dedicated, aren't they?
Can I say something about that?
Yeah, please.
I don't think any of these questions are going to be for me in the second half, which is fine. I've been in Suede for the last 35 years. I said in the first half that there are different ways of going about writing a biography, and the decisions that you make inform the world that you create. And there's definitely a way that this book could have been done that didn't speak to the members of the band extensively, didn't take up lots of their time and energy and effort and thought, didn't make it uncomfortable, didn't talk about discomfort and things that have been hard, and it's to the band's credit that they've done that. But you could also do the book without spending a great deal of time with the fans, or going to 100 gigs or whatever. And the way that I chose to do it, in part because I love the band and I'm happy to travel and I like to sort of float about and write on the move, and you get a lot of privileges, and you get into a lot of rooms that you wouldn't otherwise be in doing this. And the Suede fans are above and beyond anything that I have ever seen in any other context. There are bands 10 times as big who are not as devoted. And it's quite a beautiful thing to see. You know, we live in quite a fractured, disconnected world in many ways, and it's quite astonishing to see just quite how many people are devoted in the way that they are. And it's not just one kind of group of people either. I remember really early on in the process of this book, I can't remember if we'd signed the contract or not, and I went to see the band in Lincoln on the 10th of December, and like 10 hours early, the queue was bigger than what seemed to be the venue to me. Right? And the people at the front had handbags with like pictures of their cats that were all named after Suede reunion songs. And I went up and down just chatting to people. I was especially keen at that stage, it was right at the beginning, and I'd talk to anybody. And at this point I didn't know anybody. Now, if you go to 15 or 20 Suede gigs, you get to know a lot of the faces, at least in the UK anyway, not internationally. But it's nothing less than astonishing how devoted Suede fans are. But they know music very well, care a great deal, not just kind of idolise the people in the band, but are interested in the granular detail of what they make.
I think the other important factor is that lots of the songs are essentially about the fans. I write a lot that we talked about the two polar things about detail and belonging, and lots of the songs are sort of the belonging songs are focused on what it's like to be a sort of member of Suede and Suede's sort of extended family, you know, from Trash to all the way through to there's a new song on the new album called Tribe, which is very much about sort of like what it is to be in the Suede family, and I think that's a really important thing. That we kind of like we try and talk about that experience, you know.
I mean, I saw you at the festival hall most recently, and the level of commitment was just off the scale, really. I mean, I know I'm just saying an obvious thing, but just while I remember it, you know, it's a visceral experience, and you said nobody believes it, but apparently you're 60 next year. But it just seems that that's part of the fuel of the fire for you guys. It's this sort of reciprocal thing. It's for yourselves and the audience.
It's kind of like taking that energy and sort of feeding it back. It's a kind of feedback loop playing live. I'm always kind of like amazed at bands that just sort of stand there and play their songs. It always doesn't seem like the point of it to me. The point of it is to sort of, that's what the records are for. You want to listen to just the songs performed faithfully, ding, 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 ding. That's the records, listen to those. But the live arena is something, the whole point of it is that you take it to another level, you take it to a third place. And that's what I always try and do. I'm always looking for those sparks of energy that will kind of turn the gig into just, from a performance to I want a riot.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I want. Every gig to be like the last gig. Do you know what I mean?
You're inciting, aren't you?
Yeah, I want it to be.
Drag it out.
I want it to be. Yeah.
That's why there's so much
dangerous.
Yeah.
That's why there's so much of the band as a live unit in the book.
Yeah.
A lot of portraying of the band as a live unit. And if you go to another Suede gigs, you'll see that people are screaming the new stuff,
Yeah, exactly.
which is also incredibly rare.
That's the thing. I was going to talk briefly about that. First of all, I must also ask Neil about your stagecraft and persona. Because, I'm deadly serious about this. Everybody's got a thing, and you have this kind of icicle shit going on. I don't know what it is. Is it something? Is that just the natural you? Is it something that you ever were conscious of? Is it just? It's a really nice sort of. It's Spinal Tap, fire, ice, and I'm lukewarm water. Or whatever. But like you're doing something really glacial in there, and I love it.
Well, I think I don't want to distract from what Brett's doing. If I'm kind of wiggling on stage right as well, it's defeating the purpose of it.
Yeah, that's what Brett's doing, yeah, wiggling.
You said that.
We can't have two people wiggling on the stage, it'd be ridiculous.
57 years of wiggling.
If anybody's chief wiggler, I think I'm seeing closest to him, to be perfectly honest. Serious arsework going on.
Exactly.
I've received this as well, a late missive, from Anonymous. It says, lyrically, what, Brett, would you have written your latter albums about if you hadn't had a child, says Anonymous. But within...
My child is sitting right there. So...
I'm not saying that's the anonymous scribe. But you know, within that is something about, and that's a great thing in the book about how...
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's what it did for me was made me think about family a lot. Obviously, I mean, duh. But it's like obviously I thought about my son who's sitting over there. But and there's lots of songs that are about him. Life is Golden, for example. But it made me think about my sort of lineage and my mum and, you know, all these sorts of things and family and how I fitted into all these things and the importance of family. And I guess that using family as another sense of belonging, you know, using Suede fans as one sense of belonging, using family as another sense of belonging, all of these things. I'm always looking for different senses of belonging in the songs. I don't know if I hadn't had a child, what I would be writing about now. I think it acted as a motor, certainly for Night Thoughts, The Blue Hour, autofiction, and antidepressants. So it was a huge motor for me.
But it was also, again, do you think it was testament to how you all work and how you pass things that are, okay, maybe that's a little bit gauche or a little bit cheesy, that's it, we can't use that or whatever. Is it something to do with you guys all working together as well as your own quality control that makes you able to do it in a non-cheesy way? Because let's be honest, most rock and roll musicians can't move past phase one, can they? They end up writing about cars and girls and shit until they're 85, and it's embarrassing. Not mentioning any names, Mick Jagger at all. You see that, but you know that's a hurdle most people fall on lyrically, isn't it?
Most sort of songs about family and about kind of kids and stuff like that are sort of they're saccharine, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're dull and full of cliche. I'm quite arrogant about my ability to write things in a different way and look at these cliched topics from a different perspective. And I always thought I could do it in an interesting way, so hopefully it's done in an interesting way.
Neil?
I think that's the thing about about Rodge's book. It's like about that second life of Suede and finding new things to communicate and new things to talk about, and not just be some kind of stuck in amber talking about teenage life and stuff. That your dialogue with the fans is like we owe them something.
Yeah.
It's really important that we don't just kind of do the same old cliche kind of thing.
It's really, because on the surface you would think, well, you know, how much are you going to get out of a subject like this? But it's a really, really interesting treatise on creativity, I think, and on how you can manage to have that second career, basically. It's a mind-blowing thing to watch it actually unfurl, really.
Sean, can I try and say one brief thing about lyrics, and then if I'm wrong, you can please tell me in front of all these nice people. Or I can at least try and say something about what I hear when I hear some of that reunion music. Yes, of course, facing family and fatherhood and mortality and your own heritage and all these kind of things. It's how those things act in conversation with everything else that moves you. It's the combination of those things that is so effective. So if you look at a record like Antidepressants, that could only have been made in the 2020s. It's glitchy and disconnected and it's full of modern language, it sounds broken, but it's also kind of all about how we can search for real meaning in a world that is seeking to alienate us at every turn, technology, you name it. So yes, it's about getting older, sure, and it's about parenthood and where we come from, but it's how each of those individual things acts in conversation with all these other elements. And doing that with, as Brett said, a real particularity, avoiding sentimental cliche, looking for the image that is sharp, that is kind of slightly sour, that stands out and is memorable, because it's not something you've heard somebody say about their child a million times before, for example.
Yeah, I think it's a lovely way of saying it, really. With so many, I mean, I even got a message from Johnny Marr about you all. I mean, Johnny
in the book, not that Johnny
is interviewed in the book extensively. He's very interesting to hear his take in the book, because he talks about, that's one of the things he talks about how you're not trading on the past, and which is what we're talking about here. But he just said this as well, Suede Live is a band very much on a mission, more than any other band I've seen for a long time. Is that how they feel? Or are they just very good at being Suede? What's going on with them now in terms of playing live? Are they on a mission? I'd like some of it. You finish now.
Question from Johnny Marr from Manchester.
Yeah, that's lovely. I'd say one thing about Johnny is that, you know, the phrase "the nicest man in music business" gets really overused and often used for people that I know of arseholes. And the nicest man in music business actually is Johnny Marr. It's kind of amazing. Lovely.
A gentleman.
Yeah, absolute gentleman. So smart, so sharp, so talented, amazing man. So whenever I get a text from him, I'm text from him.
But the funny, I think it's a really interesting question, because I think what he's asking here is it an act when you're on stage? Yeah. You know, it's a question that I think we have to think about all the time, because it's not pretend, but in the same way, it's not the way we act out in the streets, backstage or anything like that.
Speak for yourself.
With his cap on and his shorts.
That's you on the school.
I'm doing the school run. It's me. Shit's 4 o'clock.
But it's just, I think the thing that's really interesting, and it comes down to what we were talking about with the fans, that gigs are a way of kind of heightening experience, you know, and letting yourself go in a way that you just wouldn't do. That's true of the band on stage. It's not choreographed what we do. It's just, it's kind of almost an extension of what you do. Yeah. And then what I love to see in the audience is the audience being this kind of that sense of abandon. You know, when you see people crying, sweating, you know, on shoulders and stuff. It's fantastic to see.
Well, that's it. There's something you give us access to. A great band or a great artist gives us access to that level, and that's, I guess, we all bring each other up to that.
Yeah,
reciprocally.
I think, like, live music, I've probably said this before, but live music is so important because it gives people license to act crazy, to sort of let go of themselves and to sort of like live in a version of themselves that isn't just the sort of like the buttoned down, paranoid, kind of like person that has to get up for jobs and stuff like that. It's like, you know, you can let go of yourself and live in a different space. And rock music allows you to do that in a kind of, I suppose, in a slightly sanitized way. But it's really important to be able to let go. Because we've all of us have got a kind of like an animal inside, do you know what I mean? And it's important to not ignore that, I think. You know?
You allow us to access the animal.
Yes.
Sounds like I'm swallowed or quite anyway. Couple more. Have we got time for two? Couple more? What time are we getting yanked off? Come on. Come on. I don't even know where I'm looking. I'm looking to the heavens now. I'll just keep going for a bit. What was Ricky Gervais really like as a manager? Brief.
Sorry, I do still know I'm not in the band.
Tonight, you're a part of the band. This is the way it is. No, just for tonight. Is the old trope true that it's easier to write during harder times in your personal lives? That's quite a good one, actually. You know, is there an element of truth to that? I think it is in the book as well a little bit, that sometimes it was a bit like Ed was trying to be a bit of grist, a bit of grit in the pearl maybe sometimes, make things a bit trickier sometimes to get you to do things. Is there an element of truth to that when things are tough, you can write better, or is there no truth to it?
I think we always sort of respond to challenges, yeah. I think whenever we coast, then things go wrong. I think we always have something to kind of kick against, totally, yeah, with that sort of a band, for better or for worse. And in fact, strangely enough, I think Antidepressants is, in a way, the sort of first record we made where there hasn't been anything to kick against in terms of career sort of thing, you know. Even Autofiction was a sort of like the band's almost like deconstructing itself and starting again. And Antidepressants is almost like a continuation of Autofiction in lots of ways. So we're always looking for trouble, I suppose. You know, giving ourselves something giving ourselves a problem.
You're looking for trouble.
Yeah.
Getting the right place. Well, I don't know. I mean, how do you feel the music industry has changed from when you started to now? Good and bad.
Is there any good? I mean, I don't know. It doesn't really exist anymore, does it? I mean, sorry, but it's kind of bleak. It really is. Everything. It seems to be kind of, you know, revisionism, heritage, all these sorts of things. This is why it's so important for us to be making new music and for people to still be listening to it, because I just couldn't do the heritage circuit at all. So
it's weird, philosophically, from a purely philosophical point of view, a number of clever people than me have described it as it's almost like a flat plane, isn't it? Because of streaming and the internet and things like that, and the immediate accessibility of all musics at any one time, it creates a sort of timeline that is just flat. So it's a strange thing, isn't it? Everything's available, but you don't pay for anything most of the time, and that's a terrible knock-on effect to the artist. But is there a good thing you think that eventually it might end up becoming an anarchic situation again, where there'll be a new Sex Pistols or something? Or are we just completely fine?
I don't know. I mean, you'd like to think that kind of creativity finds a way. I think that there's brilliant stuff in the creases, in the sort of joins, in the harder to find, but culturally, as a sort of mainstream, there's no sort of like central reference points anymore. I don't think. I think that's a shame. I think these are big questions. I think it's really interesting that there hasn't been a huge cultural developments since the early 2000s, really.
Yeah, I mean, we need more Morecambe and Wise and Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah, that's not to say there's not good stuff, but it's hard to find, I think.
Yeah.
We just live in a much more fragmented society,
Yeah.
in which people are alienated from like feelings and emotions and things and people a lot more. And if everything is free, then nothing has value. It doesn't mean, I think both things can be true at the same time. All you have to do is go along and see this band live, and you see that the music industry isn't completely dead because they brought these people into the room and it works every single time. And there is like huge amounts of exciting artists out there of all different ages, cultures, backgrounds, you name it. It's the business side that people are often talking about.
I think for my 2 cents, Kent Brockman, I just think that what they are trying to do is destroy any possibility that we might have hope in the future, and they just want us to believe that their version of the future, their terrible shit, dystopian, orange version of the future is the only one, and it fucking isn't. And I think that you and these guys and us, we've got to keep hoping and thinking of a new future and creating it. And you do a very good job of helping us do that, so thank you. Now, we've got to wind up, I suppose. I'm still waiting for God to tap me on the shoulder. I've written As Suede, the myth of Sisyphus in action. You think that there's an element of truth to that?
A nice light one to finish on.
That's the penultimate one.
You know, if you do a book festival, and there's often a timer right in the middle, of the stage, counting down right to the very last second.
At this point, it would be smoke.
Yeah, it would be. And then also on the right of the timer is usually a myth of Sisyphus alarm, right? And then when somebody asks the myth of Sisyphus question, all the lights go off.
Not the myth of Sisyphus question again.
Bought that in 1998, I still haven't fucking read it.
You can do it.
I don't really know what I'm talking about. Obviously, there's so much we could talk about, but there was a question also that was kind of lovely, and it was talking about. This is from Mike actually. I have a songwriting question specifically about "She Still Leads Me On." Today would have been my mum's 79th birthday, but she died 30 years ago. "She Still Leads Me On" really helped me understand feelings that I didn't understand. I know, Brett, your mum was the inspiration. But what was the trigger? What made you write that song at the time?
Well, it was having a child, I suppose. You know, that chain of the thought process of seeing yourself as not just a sort of atomized individual, but a part of a group of people from, you know, a mother, a son, all these sorts of things, seeing yourself as part of the family. So that was really a key thing for me, going back to the previous question. But yeah, that's probably my proudest moment as a songwriter in the last 20 years, I would say, that song. It's my favourite song. It means the most to me. I think it's a beautiful song. I think it's just not just the words, but just the way the music works, and just I think it's an interesting song as well because it's a song about grief, but it sort of it's not mawkish, and it's not sort of tragic. There's something celebratory about it. I think that's an interesting combination to get lyrically, to get those dynamics together.
And it reminds me of something that when you're younger, you think all love songs are romantic love songs.
Yes.
And then you get older and you start to spot the ones that are about somebody's kid. Or
Exactly.
somebody's mum or dad,
But they have to be interchangeable, I think. You know, they have to be interchangeable.
Yeah.
You have to, I always think if I'm writing a kind of a song that's not a romantic love song, it has to almost like, you have to feel that someone could interpret it like that.
Yeah.
There's got to be even though it's really important to be detailed in your songwriting, it's also important to have the sense that the song can be transferred to a different situation. Which is when that cliche about songwriting, you need to be universal. I don't agree with that at all. I think, but I think songs need to be transferable. You need to be able to transfer them to a different situation. So sort of love and loyalty and fealty and passion and all these things, they can be sort of directed in a romantic sense, but they can also be directed in a family sense as well.
And that's the magic trick of the title of "She Still Leads Me On," in that it brings you in, leading you to expect one thing, and you get this other thing that can be transferred, but also operates in a different way. That's what good lyrics are.
Yeah.
They're more than one thing.
It's true. You see, great. Well, you all do it very, very well.
Thank you.
Finally, what are we thinking about the Mercuries? What does it mean? mean much to you or a lot to you? What will it tell you? What will happen? And future plans. Just a quick, obvious question, but the next phase.
It's always the next record. It's always that's what I'm always thinking about. It's always that's my motivation for doing what I do is thinking about the next record. It's a sort of constant process, but I kind of love it. You know, I absolutely love what I do. So yeah, it's about writing the next record, number 11, and you know, I always want the next record to be the one.
It is. In all seriousness, though. The Mercury thing, you could go, it doesn't mean anything or whatever, oh, who cares about awards and stuff. It does mean something, doesn't it? It is meaningful.
If you're nominated, yeah.
If you're not, it's a load of bullshit. I was like that with the radio awards. Bullshit. I got a nom. This is amazing. I mean, really, these guys know what they're talking about. But it is, because it's the whole thing about the book, it's the whole thing about the journey. 2011 until now, isn't it? And it's great with somebody of my vintage to watch people who are genuinely great at what they do, craft and graft, and then end up staying in the game for so long that more and more people just go, oh yeah, this is resonant, this is real.
It just means that people are listening, which is a really nice thing. You know what I mean? Just knowing that there are people out there listening and valuing what you do. That's a great thing.
Brilliant. Listen, a couple of things. Don't lose your fucking passport. You need your thank you very, very much for coming tonight, for your questions, for your fealty. May have misused that word. But especially, thank you to Rodge for writing an absolutely wonderful book. I want to give a thanks to reader, to Matt, to Neil, of course, and to Brett as well. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. More pods, everyone.
Thank you.